We've got Tomas calling all the way from Argentina, asking, how do I better empathize with believers since you were never one yourself? Tomas, how are we doing?
I'm doing fine, thanks. How are you guys doing?
Doing well. So how can we help?
My question is basically, my question is basically that. So I live in Argentina, so Catholic country, most people believe some sort of thing, and I was never really one myself. I've been to church every Sunday for like 10 years or so, but I always thought the people didn't actually believe it. It was like a good cultural thing, like they have in England or something. And
you're saying you, while in church, you were in there not believing, and you assumed that nobody else believed it either?
Yeah, kind of. I didn't
That's
actually thought about it that way. But yeah, my question is that, like, how can I? Because I keep hearing on the show, a long-time listener, about these people calling about the fear of hell and all these hang-ups they have with religion, and I just like can't relate at all.
So again, so your question is just how do you better like understand the perspective of the religious?
Yeah, sort of. I don't want to take much time.
Well, luckily for you, Kenneth used to be religious, so
yeah,
maybe we can peer back into the old mind of Kenneth here.
Yeah. So my advice to someone wanting to understand the religious, this is interesting. I've never really thought about this before. I would start
get back in your old shoes or put on the Jesus hat.
I need a Jesus hat like Matt. Yeah. I would start with just a principle of charity, of taking people at their word when they tell you what they believe. It might sound really, really wacky and crazy to you what somebody believes, but oftentimes they are very serious. I see a lot of people in the sort of online atheist space where they'll see like, you know, evangelical Christians talking about what they believe about, say, like origins of the cosmos, and they'll be like, oh, that's a Poe. This person can't possibly be serious. Nobody could be convinced of such a thing. Sure, they can. I listen to a lot of podcasts that are about like cults and just weird shit, frankly. And I was just listening to one recently about a cult called Realism, where people believe it's like a sex cult that is about aliens, and people are convinced. People believe stuff that most of us would look at and go, that is bonkers. But that changes nothing about the fact that they are convinced. So I think step one is just listening charitably and trying to understand what it is that they're telling you they believe. And to recognize also that everybody is susceptible to believing ridiculous nonsense. Everybody. That you will find people who are brilliant. You will find people who are highly educated, highly successful in business, who have, you know, good relationships, people skills. Like every positive attribute you can possibly think of for a person applies to people who believe ridiculous nonsense. So yeah, I think that everything in my mind, I'm thinking about that documentary about that cult NXIVM, where you've got these like super highly educated business people who get caught up in this insane cult. So yeah, I would everything for me would start from a principle of charity, with trying to understand where they're coming from.
Yeah, that helps. I always try to keep an open mind about people. I know people believe weird things. I watch also weird podcasts and stuff, so I know. But yeah, that helps a bit. Thanks for your time. I don't think I have anything else to ask, actually.
No worries, Thomas. We appreciate it. If you find that you've found a way to empathize better, or that's something that you find successful, call back and let us know.
Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah.
Tomas.
Yeah. And
Tomas, I'm sorry.
You may also have some fun looking at just like, there's a lot of books out there about things like decision making and the psychology of belief. and cognitive biases and cognitive traps that people fall into. And I think that the more that, in my experience, the more that I've read stuff about decision making and belief, the more that I feel like I can empathize with people who believe stuff that I think of as being truly bonkers. I mean, like with something like Christianity or Islam or any of the world's largest religions, I think that you can point to just social conditioning and see how people go along with believing stuff because there's immense social pressure to do so. With certain other fringe belief stuff, I found it harder to wrap my head around why would people believe this nonsense. But when you start looking at our brains and you start looking at how we didn't evolve to be perfectly rational beings. Evolution doesn't necessarily select for, intelligence or reason. And you see the susceptibilities that we all have, the sort of cracks in the armor as human beings. It can be easier to have conversations with people about what they believe and why.
I agree.
Absolutely. Tomas, thank you. We appreciate it. And yeah, hopefully we'll hear from you in the future.